Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another special edition of the Hour to Power Talk Show. So today we have a special session organized in relation to the Junior World Public Speaking Championship powered by LEAMOJO TV in collaboration with the Modern Learning Studio. So in today's session, we have Mr. Yasmin Mubarak and also Ijaz Karim joining with us for a special session to discuss regarding this topic called public speaking, effective communication skills. So this has been a misconception that has been going around with a lot of people saying, "Oh, okay, what public speaking is all about and why it is most important. Is it yet another skill like any other communication or listening skills?" So here I have two of the individuals joining with me, and today the talk show will comprise of everything relating to public speaking skills and how important it is and what impact does the LJWC, the LEAMOJO Junior World Public Speaking Championship 2022, will have on your kids to have a career progression that could be unmatched. So, ladies and gentlemen, back again, inviting you to be a part of this program. You can have your questions or you can have your clarifications to be posted on the comment section, and we will have it answered. And our speakers will be ready to be able to address them in this very same platform. So, moving on. So, let me start with Mr. Yasmin Mubarak. So, Yasmin, what do you think when it comes to public speaking now, as a young individual yourself, during your tender age, what were the fear that was associated in getting up and speaking in a public arena? What are the fears that you actually had during your tender age in order to make sure that you are not able to express yourself confidently? So would you be able to relate something of your personal experience?
All right, so thank you, Arshad, for giving me this opportunity. Right, so I can remember, right, as a teenager and as a the child, right, I was struggling through the communication. So when it comes to communication, means especially public speaking and speaking to, and I would say, right, I was having a biggest, not only the fear, I was struggling with communication. I was struggling with communicating and also expressing my ideas and my views. So I remember, right, my parents, they wanted me to become a doctor. That was their expectation. And also I remember my teachers, they are forcing and they are motivating to me be a professional, to become a professional. The professional means it's more, I would say it's more into the qualification based, right? If you become a doctor, you can settle in your life. So if you become an engineer, so what you can do is you will have everything. You can have a luxury and you can have almost everything. And if you become a lawyer, right, so you will have a good life. So that sort of era we were living, right? I remember everybody is forcing me, right? Why don't you go to university? It's all about somebody will be successful in their future if they go to university, right? And what happened is, we never get any sort of advice or anything related to the future, our future. We were just, just facing day to day, and we were just completing our syllabus. And what we were trying to do is to pass the examination. So I would say everything based on the qualification. If you qualified, you will have a good life. If you don't, okay, there will be a question. And later on, so as a child, I was going through, like a bit of challenge with the communication. I realized even though whenever I'm trying to perform or trying to do something, because of my communication skills, I realize, right? I first thing is I started putting myself down, and also from outside, the people are trying to put me down. Not only that, the people are trying to we call it a bullying, some sort of bullying, and you don't get any opportunity. And also, like it is common. So when it's come to yeah, Asian, right? So not only Sri Lankans, so most of the Asian countries, they are having the same problem. So what happened is we are more focusing on whoever becoming on the first and second, third, fourth, fifth in the class. So what will happen is we get encouragement, right? So if you become first in class, you will get a number one in your life. That sort of motivation, so that everybody is trying to become a first in the class. So, but we don't know, we don't know anything about how will be our future. Then after that, I realized, right? After that, I realized, so what is something very important when it's come to our future, it is not just a qualification. The reason I know, like I was working with the profession, and they are having a lot of qualification, not only one, masters and double masters, PhDs and double degree, and they are having 3 degrees and everything. And I realized, and the people, they're still trying to learn something. What they're trying to do is get more and more qualification. So then later on I realized the people are trying to compare their future with their qualification, right? So then I realized, so there are people, even though they are having all the qualifications, they are not happy with their life. Not only that, there is no settle. They are not settled. They are thinking about, I want to settle in my life. That's the reason I'm studying. That is the reason I am doing this. That's the reason I am doing that. So they are trying. But I realized something is very important, right? So, and also, I get a lot of opportunity to attend a couple of training program and webinars. Like recently webinars, and those days a lot of right, one-on-one. It's not the virtual one. So seminars and all. Then I realize most of the people who are leading, I would say the top entrepreneurs, top leaders, yes, of course, they have some sort of qualification. They are qualified. And also the majority, right? So they not even qualified. They don't have any degree. Why? A person, he doesn't have a degree, he is leading a company. A person doesn't have anything, he just after A-levels, right? He's a billionaire. He's a millionaire. So because I'm not demotivating the one who doing his higher studies. What I'm saying is, so one person is trying to get more qualification, another person is trying to start something, and he's trying to build something, but their age are same. The time they become 35 or 40, so the person who is trying to get more and more qualification, then only he's trying to get something. He's trying to start something, or he's trying to get a good opportunity. Like the person, he doesn't have any sort of qualification, he started something his own, and now 40 he almost settled. He's planning for his retirement. Now I started thinking, what is the difference? Everybody talking about, if you have a degree in finance, you will have a good future. If you have a degree in business management, you will have a good future. But the person, the one who leading, and others are working for him, right? So then I realized something. The number one is, we call it the confident. You have to believe ourselves. You have to believe yourself. First thing is, the people are started believing their degrees, not themselves. So what I say is, first what we have to do is, we have to start believing ourselves. Second thing, only our qualification. Qualification which will add more and more and more values. Like I would say, so qualifications are like a 0. So if you say, Arshad, you have 3 zeros, no value for that 0. But what if you add 1? The 0 will become 10, 100, 1000, a million, a billion, like that. But you need that one to make it bigger. Without that one, you can't do anything. So that what is that one is your confidence, your communication skills. If you have all kind of this talent, what you can do is you can survive and you can do anything. You can do, I would say, like you can reach the highest. So that is the reason I wanted to do something different. So I wanted to find out the solution why people are struggling, because I struggled a lot. I know, right? As I told you earlier, I got bullied because of my communication. So then I wanted to change it because I'm struggling with my communication skills. Not only me, there are quite a lot of people, the very smart people. They have all the potential, so they call it themselves a super genius, but they don't have a future. Why? They are struggling with their communication. They don't know to express their ideas. Just imagine, I have all kind of knowledge to invent something, right? To come up with a new invention, but I'm afraid of communicating, expressing my ideas to someone else. So what's going to happen is I am going to die with my idea. You understand? So I'm going to die, right? So a lot of hundreds and millions of people they are dying without expressing their ideas, without living their life. So that I wanted to change it. So I wanted to start it from early childhood. That is the reason I came up with this idea. So I would say I'm not the person who can communicate, who has the good the language skills and the ability, but I wanted to make a change because of the confidence what I have now, and because of, like, it's not about your language. There's a people are like they have some sort of misunderstanding. They think if I am not good in language, I can't communicate. No, it's all about the first thing. You have to start communicating. It's all about the communication, expressing your idea to others. Because the languages are, because it is to communicate. The first thing is the communication. The second is the language. Right? The people are not communicating is because of they are having some sort of barriers with their language. So I will make grammatical mistake. I will make this mistake. I don't know about anything about the tenses. I don't know anything about this. So that's kind of the phobia, I would say, so that the people are not making any mistakes. So, but I remember, right? Actually, as a Sri Lankan, I was going through a lot because of the skills and all. Then I got a good opportunity to work with the Singaporeans, especially Malaysians and the Japanese. Right? Their communication, even like I remember. So I got a professor. He's from Japan. So I was expecting he will have a good communication English. Sorry, communications in English, right?
Yeah.
Then, like his way of pronunciations and everything is different. And he said, right, so at the first day, right, don't judge me based on the way I speak in English.
Okay. So you
So
would have
then,
felt a lot comfortable.
like,
You would
it
have
gave
felt
me
a
the
lot
power.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So, Yasmin, you were talking about being bullied, which I believe is an unpleasant experience, right? So, now coming over to Ijaz, right? So, Ijaz, being bullied, I reckon it's a phase that a lot of people go through. It does
Definitely,
not
yeah.
necessarily mean that it has to be someone who does not have a particular skill. Sometimes you can be more studious, you can be a nerd, people call it that, and then eventually you become bullied as well. So, Ijaz, tell me about your childhood, and what were the fear that you associated with, and how did you overcome that? And today you are a public speaking coach yourself, so how did you make it to this level at the end of the day?
All right, Arshit. So basically, not many would know this, but basically, me as a child, I was actually a very quiet person. So I remember, if I were to share a story, when I was about, let's say, about 6 to 7 years old, I actually was going to meet one of my class teachers with my mother, and the class teacher actually asked me, "Okay, how are you? How are you?" Right. So I think I misheard it, and I misheard it as saying it was, how old are you? So I assume she was asking how old I was, as in my age. So normally a child would say, okay, 5, 6, so I'm 5 years old or 6 years old. That's what they'd say. I was so scared of speaking, I just showed 5 fingers like that. That's all.
All right.
That's
Okay.
all I had, right? And then my teacher was so shocked that she actually asked my mother whether I had any sort of speech delay, but there was no such thing. It's just that I was so scared of talking to people, anyone who I'm not comfortable with, right? So this actually went on for quite a while, right? So it wasn't actually in my younger days, probably till my early teen days, where I was actually feared talking to people because I felt like I felt I am actually worried about what they think about me, their thoughts. Because true, bullying is something which I also faced as a young child and teenager. People would comment about my appearance, because I was not the most best looking person, so I was very thin. So when people would make so many remarks, right? So I felt like, something which restricted my communication was I feared that someone would say something against me, which wouldn't have any thing to say against, which is why I was actually in a very quiet person. But what I felt was okay. I came to a point where I thought, okay, if I were to actually succeed or actually come across this, there's a quote by the a very famous person known as Robin Sharma. So he basically said, to conquer your fears you need to walk right into them. So my fear at that moment was talking to any stranger. So let's say, even if the person was known to me, let's say as a friend or a teacher, so unless the person was really close to me, I wouldn't feel comfortable in talking to them for a long period of time. But I realized that okay, this is not going to be me for the rest of my life. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do something that is going to be a big change for me, which I took up, which was at the time something known as Model United Nation. So it's basically where it's a simulation of the United Nations, where you can basically you represent a country and go and talk. So that was my first public speaking experience as a teenager. So I was probably about 14, 15 years old when I actually was speaking in front of large crowd of people. So even then, I was talking, let's say, in committee, but I still had zero skills of making connections or friends. Like you would see me talking in front of a delegation. Representing my country, but during break time, I would just be on my own. I wouldn't know what to talk about with others. So one thing which I actually learned actually from actually teaching kids public speaking as well is that public speaking is actually the world's number one fear. Yes, more than death, fear of spiders. I'm not sure how the statistic is right now with COVID, but pre-COVID times, and I'm pretty sure even now, the world's number one fear is public speaking. So people actually fear talking in front of a large crowd of people. And that is not because of anything else, but the fact that they are afraid of people's judgments, afraid of what these people would think. Okay, if I make a mistake, they are going to laugh at me. They would say things behind my back. What everyone should know is that whatever we said and done, no person is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, and that's human nature. That is something normal, and that's something I believe should be taught to kids from a young age, as early as 5 years old, as proven in our public speaking programs at Modern Learning Studio. Because if you all are afraid to make mistakes, that's where this fear of public speaking comes, because it's going to come from a young age. And when it comes to a certain age, like especially when you're in your young adult age, it becomes very difficult to overcome, because you would always think, okay, if I make this mistake, I'm going to make a fool of myself, I'm going to humiliate myself. Because when you're younger, you're more you're not worried about what people think. You think, okay, if you're taught that it's okay to make mistakes, you automatically train yourself to be okay. If you make a mistake, just okay. So the best thing in public speaking is, even if you make a mistake, just pretend like it never happened. Because end of the day, even if you're giving maybe the best speech in the world and you forgot a paragraph, nobody's going to know. Only you know what you are going to talk about, and unless you show that to your audience, they would not know if you made a mistake, if you forgot anything. It all is within you. So public speaking isn't actually a skill which I would say that people are born with. it's something we develop as we go. So public speaking is all within us. It's just that we have to get it out of ourselves, right? Arshad, I would like to ask you as well. What actually made you interested in public speaking, or rather, what were the experiences or challenges you felt when it came to public speaking or dealing with things like bullying in general?
Yeah, well, I certainly have lived through that phase as well. So when I was young, what really happened is the fact that I'm somebody who's composed of taking up leadership. The leadership of certain things, may it be a class, because I was prone to that fact because it was, I don't know by whether by choice or not. I used to be selected as the the monitor of the class, or maybe as the junior prefect and all of which. But one of the things that I identified is the fact that if you are going to keep yourself behind as a leader, the most important attribute I would say is for you to be able to express. If you are not going to do the talking, nobody is there to listen, right? So if people are not going to be listening to you, there aren't going to be any followers. Okay, and if you actually need to enlighten somebody else's life, if you need to do a change, you certainly have to voice. So that's really really important. So what normally happens in, when I actually, when I was in my younger days, what I really felt was, when my peer colleagues who happened to be speaking well were the ones who got the first attention. They were the ones who were taken for anything, maybe for a concert, maybe to play a role of a negotiator or anything of that sort. So that was a very important element that I felt was missing in me, and I can still relate to my first speech, which was back in grade two, if I can remember that. And this is where I was given a topic at impromptu, and it was impromptu topic, and I was asked to speak, and I literally burst into tears. Right, I literally burst into tears. I couldn't say a word. What happened eventually? They were not ready to accept the fact that I'm young, right? But instead they were ready to encourage those who were ready to go there and talk about a word or two, right? To tell a word or two. So that is the way that people actually look at you, and especially in this world which is very competitive, everything is up to where you have to pronounce yourself. So that's really really important. But what we see in this era is, when a child is talkative, right? When a child goes on telling things, when a child expresses his things, he gets to be branded as being naughty, number one. And then number two, they tell him to stop, and they confine the child. They stop him from there. And that is one of the worst thing that you can do to your children. Yes, of course, it's their age that actually, caters them to, let them, behave in a way as such, which is perfectly fine because that's a way of expression. So is public speaking as well, making sure that you fall within the realm of speaking. uh, you have to be able to get yourself adjusted to your gestures that you use, the posture that you have when you speak, that eventually will develop. So these are very important things that you yourself now I believe there are some parents who are watching this program, the viewers today. Make sure that you don't confine, don't enforce a lot of pressure on your child if he or she is trying to break barriers. That is the first step in breaking, or just going through this fear of public speaking and expressing what you would want to say, because good speakers don't actually stay back, don't be reserved. They speak, and they speak in a manner that they actually enlighten somebody else's life. So coming back to the thing that we were actually talking about, the public speaking. So, Yasmin, you were talking about how when you were young, you had this problem, and then you tried to break it, and then you came across, and then what actually came into your mind was the fact that it is not about speaking right with the right use of language, and also whether somebody would take you account for if you actually spoke fragmented language. So we have heard about success stories a lot, right? This person has succeeded, that person has succeeded, but never has been a moment where somebody has revealed how they actually succeeded. So, Yasmin, today you are the chief executive officer and a founder of a 21st century skills learning center, where you actually amplify this message. You spread the message of moving from conventional learning to learning with specialized skills that are needed for the 21st century. How did you come across with this idea from being a child, from being a young Yasmin who happens to be, fearing to come out into the public, and today leading such an organization of that caliber? How was this possible?
Yeah, I would say, Arshad, it's all about the mindset, right? So it's everything is it's based on your mindset, how you think about the situation, right? And also, I would say this is all about the mindset. The mindset is all about how are you approaching any situation, how are you responding to any situation, right? I would say, like, yeah. So those were the challenges I have been facing, I have been going through, right? Then I realized, why can't make use of these challenges instead of taking it as a problem? So I know my the communication skill, it was the biggest problem, right? So I was thinking, right? So why me? Why? Because everybody is pointing out me, right? So because I'm struggling, so it's a lot, I would say. So all the people are there pointing at you, and they are just putting you down, and it was like, I would say, it was a nightmare, I would say now, right? And I started realizing, and I remember when I was in my psychology, I was doing my major in psychology, and we were discussing about the problem and coming up with the solution. So, and I came across through something called the growth mindset. The growth mindset is, I started believing the growth mindset concept, right? So I would say that is developed by professor, right? She is from Stanford University, Professor Carol Dweck, right? So it was one of my favorite subject and the research. I started research about the growth mindset. So what growth mindset is, take criticism as a constructive criticism. If somebody is criticizing you, I would say that was the reason. I was the best, first reason to come to this position. I started taking everything. So before that, I was taking all the criticism personally. If somebody come and said you can't talk, I was taking it personally, and I started struggling. I was really upset, and I can't eat. I'm not focusing on my studies. I'm not focusing. I'm not eating on time. I started putting myself down. I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not talking through mobile phones or anything. I'm not making eye contact, and I'm not communicating my friends, because I know I will get rejected. So now what happened is, after I started studying about this, so it says, yeah, if somebody is criticizing you, it's a good thing. You take criticism as a constructive criticism. It says, if somebody is throwing a stone at you, take the stone and collect it and build the empire. Like that. So what you can do is, if somebody is telling something to you, you are getting free advice. You are getting a free consultation, right? So did you understand that? So because you are not going to get it from anywhere, you are not going to get it from anywhere, right? So then, is there any way? Tell me about my weakness. Nobody will come and tell you. But if somebody is telling you, right, okay, you can't do this, so you are getting a free. It's a gift getting from someone. So what you have to do is, instead of worrying, you just need to start building. You have to start working. So then, what happened is, I started, because I remember I wanted to, right, take it as a challenge, and my problem, I want to take my problem as an opportunity, right? I changed the problem as an opportunity. So what happened is, I wanted to what I wanted, because I didn't get any communication training when I was schooling. I didn't get a proper chance. Even my parents, they are not aware of communication. They are not aware of importance of communication. So everybody will say, go and talk. Right? So nobody is teaching us how to go and talk, how to make that connection, how to make that eye contact, the hand gestures, facial expression, how to show your emotions. Nobody's teaching us. So everybody is they are like asking us to complete the syllabus. So go and get ready for exams, O levels, A levels, that and this.
Always
Then you
ready to
can do good life.
criticize, you mean? Yeah?
Definitely, yeah.
Always ready to criticize. And which means that you have actually converted your fear to a strength. So
That's 100%.
you're like
Yeah.
Batman, Yasmin, because you see, you have actually been able to, which is actually a very good way of looking at fear. Because you see, if somebody can try convert his or her fear to a
Yeah,
strength, it will be very
Arshad,
powerful.
Arsha, sorry for interrupting you. Not only me, right? If would say if you check about more than 75% of the invention,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Like Thomas Alva Edison, he was scared of dark.
Nah.
Right? He was scared of, yeah, so he was mentioning. So I'm scared of dark. I don't want to stay in the dark. So that's why I started thinking about coming up with this light bulb. See, so because if somebody is going through some sort of struggles, that's an opportunity. So we have to start thinking that way. Right? So you're asking your yes, Asha.
Yeah, so that's some of the things that we have to take into mind. So converting fear to strength. So I believe that we have some of the comments coming in from the social media channels, which since talk show is being streamed live. So I have a question here which says how to help our child face a situation of bullying as a parent. So Ijaz, what would you have to say for this comment?
So for this, right? So basically, it talks about how a parent can help a child in the situation of bullying. So the first thing I'd recommend uh, to do in such a situation is the parents should make sure that the child is aware that they should feel comfortable in talking to their parents about bullying. So you have to basically check up on them on a daily basis, in the sense where you can actually get to know if they're being bullied or not, because sometimes some children might actually feel embarrassed to tell this or even confront an adult. They might think, oh my god, I can deal this with this on my own, but that's not how it should be. So the first thing which a parent could do is to help their child stand up against themselves. So sometimes this can be based on the different type, because bullying also, there are different kinds of types, because now we have cyberbullying as well. But the main forms of bullying, I believe, that a child would face when they're going to school is either verbal bullying or physical bullying. So when it comes to verbal bullying, I believe it's a bit more easier for the child to stand up. For example, things like name calling, or just shaming, or just basic things where they're being insulted by someone else. So basically, one thing they could do is, without insulting the bully itself, just stand up to just get them to be a bit more strong and stand up for themselves, and just say, okay, why you are calling me this, what's wrong, is this something bad, make the bully feel a bit more guilty. And in the case where that does not happen, where that does not actually fix things, is when the child should actually approach an adult within the school, so either their teacher or headmaster. So because what most children think, especially in school, because even I myself during my school years faced this, it's something that if you basically go and complain to a teacher about a bully, you're just a person who wants to get people in trouble. That's not how it is, because you are the person is in trouble in the first place and being bullied. So the first thing the parents should be able to do is make sure that the children are comfortable in talking to them about this, because a lot of children might think that, okay, if they tell this to the parents, the parent might think that the child is doing something wrong at school, or is just different from the crowd. But that's the first main thing, is to make sure your child is in a safe environment, in a comfortable position to actually explain to you about this situation, because then we could actually guide them in a way where they can actually overcome this situation. Because the main reason for bullying is because the child does not know what to do, and because of this they just think it's okay and just goes on with their life, which actually mentally affects children to a very large extent.
It is very true. Rightly said, Ijaz, because it's about the ambience that is created for the child to be able to express independently. I think a lot of parents do this mistake where they think that this is part and parcel of the school life. So we have gone through this, and it's no remote that you should go through this as well. And most of the students eventually get depressed, and they try to find means in order to fabricate reasons to cut school or maybe bunk school. So that's how things actually happen. And we have another question here that says. How do we help kids become brave to talk? So, Yasmin, what do you think of this comment? How do you think that you should encourage a kid to be brave enough to step up and do the talking?
Right. So yeah, Arshad, first we need to understand, right? So there are two kind of fears, right? The fears mean the number one, it's a born fear, and the second one, the learned fear. The born means so like if you are just taking a child, if you're thinking about a child, they're scared of a noise. If somebody is shouting, right? So what they're scared of, right? So they are not afraid of making noises, and they are not afraid of crying and shouting. So because they don't have that kind of fear. So and after that, these other fears are it's learned fears. They learn from their environment. So what happened is, so they observed somebody is afraid of communication, or else somebody is they started talking to their parents. So this is the mistake most of the parents they do. Whenever they are coming to communicate with their parents, they say, I'm busy. Don't you see? I'm doing my work. So don't disturb me. Can you go and ask father? Can you go and ask sister? Right. So now again the child is trying to approach, or child is trying to talk to you. So then I'm saying, so because I'm busy, can you do something? Can you go and play? So what's happening is whenever they are trying to express their ideas, right? And also we don't, because what I believe is child. So the kids are they are a good replicator. They replicate everything. They learn by seeing, right? So they learn by looking at the things. So when it's come to that, what's happening is there is no one-to-one communications are not happening. We are not encouraging, we are not communicating. What's happening is, if there is a child, okay, I'm bored, I don't know what to do, so can you go and watch something? So we are putting a video and we are just showing them. So that's what happening. So what we have to do is that the reason I'm trying to tell you is the public speaking fear is a learned fear. It's not a born fear, right? Nobody is boarding with the fear of public speaking, communications. It's everything is learned. It is the one reason their parents, their environment. The second reason their school and the environment. I know. So there are so many schools, they are not encouraging their kids to communicate. The communicate mean, so this is wrong. If they are trying to say, so now the first day, the teacher is asking, can you what is the capital city of Japan? So the first day, the child is trying to say, the child don't know anything about Japan. That child is trying to say, a capital city of Japan is Colombo. Now the teacher is shouting. The teacher is saying, you are wrong. That is not the answer. That is wrong. Right? Now, the second he got that feedback saying, you are wrong.
So
Something
that
like you
has
are wrong.
become a
Like
fear.
that way.
Yeah, that
Yes.
has become a fear.
Second day, teacher is asking the questions, and that child know the answer. Second day, the teacher is asking the question. So she's asking, okay, so what is the biggest animal? The child know the answer. But he has that fear. Teacher is going to say I'm wrong, or teacher is going to put me down, or it's a rejection, fear of rejection, or fear of failure. You understand? So, and also, like the first time he had an experience when teacher said your answer is wrong, he had an experience, entire class was laughing. Entire kids, they started laughing. Right? They started, oh my God, you don't know the answer. What a silly questions. You don't know anything about these. And you are saying it's a Colombo is a Sri Lankan capital city. Now he gathered all the information. Right? So second day, he has the past experience, negative experience. If I'm right, okay. If I'm wrong, the people will laugh at me. Teacher will put me down. So now the kids have that fear of failure, fear of rejection, and the third thing, what other people are going to think about me. These are the three reasons. I would say these are the three reasons
Three
kids
reasons.
won't perform. Kids are not performing. These are the reasons, because I helped hundred thousands kids, right? Whoever coming to me, we help the kids with struggling to communicate, stammering, right? So we help. So we remember, right? So there are parents are there crying and they are saying, "You help my child. Your team have supported my child. This is unbelievable." No, we don't do any miracle. We don't do any magic. What we do is we help them to overcome the fear of failure, fear of rejection, and what other people are thinking about them. This is none of our business. What we have to do is, if we want to perform, first we have to start at saying, "Yes, I can." Just go start it forward. Don't think about others. Don't think about the fear. First thing what you have to do is you need to start teaching them. It is okay to fail. It is okay to fail. So first, teach your children, teach your kids, give it as a make it as a habit. It is okay to fail. If you fail, you learn. The failure is not a failure. It's a learning. Right? The second time you try, second, even if you fail, second time you can improve. You can improve. You can improve a lot, right? So that, so you need to teach. You got to teach your children about the failure. It is okay to. Now what we are doing is, so when we are teaching something, when we are making asking them to take part in the competition, so first thing what we are telling is, you have to become first number one, right? I'm sending you to school. I'm spending so much. I want you to become number one. See what is in that number one? Why we are making them to lose entire life to make them number one? They are not eating on time. They are sleepless, and they're studying. And to become a number one, then they are not happy. If you are not happy, no point of being number one. You need to teach your children the happiness is something very important, not number one position, right? So like I'll come to the point. The first thing what you have to teach is to answer to this question, teach them, tell them it is okay to make a mistake, it is okay if you fail, right?
Yeah.
Second thing, fear of rejection. Even it's okay somebody is rejecting you, you can try. Third thing, it's okay somebody is laughing at you, that is none of your business. Let them laugh, let them say what they want. Your life is in your hand. You understand? If you if you teach all these three things to them, definitely your child will be can do anything. Because normally that's what I do. During the first session, what I do, I take them, we do activity, I encourage them. It's okay to make a mistake. We do a lot of activities, right? We tell them, I explain to them with a lot of incident happened in the past. Lot of inventors they fail, billionaires they fail, sportmen they fail, right? The second thing, it's okay. So somebody is watching you, they are putting you down, it's okay, right? So first thing what you have to do is you need to teach them about this. Don't expect your kids to be number one first. First, make them to take part. Participation is something important. You understand? Make them the worth of the participation, not the position. Not the but as a parents, we are concerned about the position, not about the participation. Even if they are getting low marks, right, just encourage them, not for their marks, for their effort, right? So if you could follow this, definitely you can start improving your child's communication. The communication is not just you are sending your child to the speaking class and not that. It's all about the preparing their mindset. So, like it's not like a parrot. Like we are not preparing the parrot. Parrot mean what we will do is we will be teaching the script. We will be teaching something to them. So what will happen is they will be memorizing. They will be memorizing and they will be telling everything same. It's not that. It's all about we are teaching them to make a decision. What to talk, when to talk, and the how to talk. These are something important, right? So this is what needs to be improved. These are the things, Arsha.
Yeah, and Asha, just to add on to what Yasmin said, so another very important thing which I feel that a parent can help their child when improving their speaking skills is that as Sri Lankans, we are generally we do not have English as our first language. So you might come from a Sinhalese speaking background, a Tamil speaking background. So when we have these languages as our first languages, generally English might become second or even sometimes our third language. So that doesn't mean so just because our knowledge of English isn't very strong and sound doesn't mean that we can't be a good communicator and we can't be brave. Because what most people fear is that if they can't really speak fluently in English, they can't be a good public speaker. No, that's not it. English is just a language. Public speaking is a skill that comes through practice. So it's okay if your child might not have the best English, because none of us are, because as Sri Lankans, we do not have English as our first language. Sometimes it's our second or even third language. So it's always best to try to give your speeches the as comfortably as possible, because you can improve your language skills only by talking. So if your child does not have practice of actually using the language of English outside of school, it's going to make it a bit more difficult for them to converse or even confidently speak. So you need to help them feel confident and encouraged to speak, even though they might not have perfect grammar, or even sometimes they might seem like they're speaking broken English. You should not be able to discourage them, and they should always try, because the more they actually talk and start speaking is where they can actually improve. So with that being said, I would like to actually pose Arshad a question of how public speaking can be something of very important in when it comes to career progression.
Yeah, it certainly is a problem that we face right in the moment, right now. When it comes to the Asian region in particular, we see even in the country, we see a lot of educated individuals having completed their bachelors, there are master graduates. Like I would like to quote what Yasmin also said before. When it comes to paper qualification, having paper qualification alone will not secure you a job. It will, but it's not the job that you will be deserving, right? So most of the people, the factor that just pushes them back is public speaking or the speaking ability, right? Speaking ability does not necessarily mean to just go ahead tell things, but making sure that you properly align what you want to say and say it with confidence and courage. So that is one of the things that's really important, because now as parents of young parents of kids who aspire a person by just quoting the ones that are in the movies, or maybe listening to the news, looking at those role models who are on TV and say, okay, fine, I would like my child to become like this one day. But mind you one thing, if you actually want your child to become a person who is popular out there and who actually has been able to live up to your expectation as a role model, it certainly has taken some courage and confidence to do something, and not only to do something but also to voice it. So that is very important when it comes to career progression. And most of the people have spent around 5 years, 10 years, 15 years in the very same company, in the very same position. The reason why? Because they had not been able to express themselves. They can be very studious, they can be very knowledgeable, and also they can possess all the experience that they have. And the end-to-end process would just be something literally easy for them to just go through, right? But what stops them from progressing in their career is the fact that they don't step forward in order to voice for something that they actually deserve. So when your child is young, right? Because this is not like any other skill, we would say. Some people have this. Some parents would think this way. Okay, fine. Public speaking skill is yet another skill like any other artistic skill, right? My child can do the drawing, right? My child can play the piano. My child can play the guitar, right? So like any other skill, this is just a skill that one needs to decide whether he or she is going to choose in order to master or not. It's not to the parents out there. It's certainly not, because public speaking skill is an integral part that you have to master from the very tender age, right? And that is when your child comes to a point where he or she has to lead. Because if you happen to dream or aspire to think that your child will become a leader one day, serving in the position of a chief executive officer, or maybe a chairman of a company, maybe serving in the position of a team leader, he or she has to have the ability to voice. And that is how, if you just look at the history tells about people who have been considered as great leaders. They might not have done a lot of things themselves, but all what they did was they were able to maneuver a troop or their followers to do something right. How did they do that? By voicing, by delegating, by talking on behalf of the mission that they were up to. So this is very important when it comes to career progression. So talking about the career progression aspect of it, I believe it is very important that public speaking skills is a must ability. Effective communication skills is a must ability that one needs to master. So going along with this, I would like to push this question to Yasmin. Uh, we heard the fact that the Model Learning Studio, powered by LEAMOJO TV, is organizing a Junior World Public Speaking Championship. So this is, I believe now, I remember when I was young, I think we did not have much of an opportunity as such, or an avenue where we can express. A championship for the junior public speaking championship is something really new. I mean, something that I have not heard before. So, Yasmin, what is this junior public speaking championship all about, and what drove you the idea of having a championship, and that too a global event?
All right. So first, Arshad, so I would say first I wanted to create an platform, right? So because most of the kids they don't have this kind of platform. So what's happening is like we are not preparing for a future. We are just preparing for the exams, as I told you, as we were discussing earlier, right? So first, what I want to do is everybody is accepting public speaking and communication skills are something very important, right? So that's the reason they say they have included in 4C, the 21st century skills. If you want to be a leader in 21st century, if you want to start something, and if you want to be successful in 21st century, they say learn 4C. Learn 4C. So what is 4Cs? Number one, critical thinking and problem solving. Right? So if you don't have that skills, problem solving skills, it's difficult for you to survive, right? Even though if you are well qualified. The second thing, the creativity. Creativity is something very important, right? You have to come up with the best thing in the burst. You have to come up with the critical creative ideas. So it can be anything. The third is communication. Communication. So communication is all about the communicating with others, communicating, and also like the communication mean so the selling, story sell. What is selling is most of the companies and most of the places is story is selling. You may see, right, after hearing the story, so that product sells. The story selling, storytelling, not the storytelling, story selling. Actually story is selling, right? So that the story selling, so you need to have a good communication, right? You can't come up with the good product and you can you have all the technology, you have everything, and it's there in some place, but everybody's coming and just checking and going. There is nobody there to express what is it, explain. So that is failure, right? And another place there is a tiny invention. The person is explaining, expressing, telling everything and the tiny details. So that person is attracting more. You understand? So if we want to prepare a 21st century leaders and the 21st century change makers in the future, what we have to do is we need to give them that platform, the platform. So because no point of preparing them after they become 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. They are like, they are in their life, some of their era has gone. So what we have to do is, if they want to prepare them for the future, first we have to start giving them the opportunity now. That's the reason we want to start something in international level, not the local level. So I want to start the international public speaking competition for kids. So that's what we call it a junior speaking competition. So this is not just a competition so that you can just apply and you can just take part and we will be selecting first, second, third. Not that. Whoever taking part in this public speaking competition, they will be getting that exposure, right? So because we will be guiding them and we will be taking them through, it's I would say it's a world journey, right? We will be explaining them about the 21st century needs, and we will be giving certain tasks, and we will be taking through the master class. We will be explaining about what is the communication. It's like not communication, not only it can be used only to express yourself, right? And also it which will help you to build your business, which will help you to communicate against the violence, abuse. Somebody is going through some sort of abuse, so he's a child or teenagers, so they are just keeping everything inside themselves. If they can communicate, they can express it. Not only that, if they have a talent or some special thing, that's the reason what we want to do is I want to give them a platform now. I want to give them the best start now. So the public speaking championship is going to be the starting point for them, right? From there, and also what I want is I believe in the positive circle, right? So because if you are inside a positive circle, whoever discussing about the ideas, not about the problem. If you are the inside the circle, everybody is coming up with the idea, everybody wants to achieve in their life. What will happen, right? Whatever, even if I am having the negative thought, definitely because of others I will get motivated. I will push by others the good feedback. I will push by others inspiration, what they are doing. So because I am going to surround up with the positive people, so that I wanted to create the positive circle for these children. So whoever taking part in this competition, they are going to be the selected. They are going to be the selected crowd of change maker of the world. They are going to be the change. They are going to design the future. They are going to design the future in the positive way. So that what we have to do is we need to feed them with the positive and the good thing now. So because of this organizing this public speaking junior championship, what we are going to do is we are going to collect all the best the juniors in the world, right? Who wants to express their ideas, who wants to change the world in the positive way. We are going to guide them, we are going to take them, and after that there will be a competition. The competition means, so yeah, so we are going to select the who can come up with best idea, who is there to express their ideas to impress others, right? So expressing their ideas and impressing, right? So they are going to be the winner. We are going to select three winners, and the 5 plus, 8 plus, and the 12 plus. So they are going to be the junior champions in public speaking, right? And also there will be a rewards like we will be giving $1,000 per the winner. So like it's all about the opportunity and the creating the platform, Arshad. I would say that is the reason I came up with this idea.
Okay, Asmin, I think I heard it right. US $1,000 for
Yes,
the
yes,
champion at a
yeah. The
very
first
young
prize is
age,
$1,000.
representing their nation. So that's huge. And when I was going through the official website, Ijaz, I
Yeah.
came across this thing called Master Class, and I know the fact that you're spearheading this project, which is the Master's Class. So would you like to tell our viewers as to what this Master Class is expected to do?
Sure. So basically, what this masterclass program does is, so basically every child who joins our junior public speaking championship, so every competitor, I'd say, goes through this whole masterclass program before the actual judging and the competition starts. So this is even before the preliminary rounds start. So basically, what will happen is there'll be 8 sessions which we are planning to run this masterclass program through, in which the children would actually get an opportunity to fine tune their public speaking skills. So they would learn their skills, such as if they to how they can improve their hand gestures, how they should maintain eye contact, how they should be giving speeches in a virtual world. So when we're looking at the nature of this competition, it's done virtually. So there's a whole sphere of rules in which you should adhere to when giving a speech virtually, as opposed to giving a speech to a large audience, because unlike giving a speech in front of on a stage in front of a large audience, you have to keep in mind of things like how you're within a camera frame, and how you should maintain the distance from your camera, and so many other skills which will explain. So basically, the whole purpose of the masterclass program is to make sure the children get all the relevant public speaking skills to such an extent, so that none of the competitors are disadvantaged. So they would basically have all the same set of skills being taught to them. They would if we see any improvements that need to be done, the masterclass program helps the child actually go through this whole learning curve, where they actually can actually improve on their public speaking skills. So essentially it's a program designed to improve the child's public speaking skills. So regardless of whether the child actually wins a grand prize or not, the child gets a lot out of this masterclass program, because they would know all the essential categories and skills needed on how to actually give a speech or talk in front of a large group of people.
Okay, so well, I believe this is not like any other competition that we've seen at school, because by the way that you all have been able to describe, this looks a lot exciting, and it looks like a great platform for kids and students. I mean, children, in order to come prove their talent. And the best part, which I actually adore from this particular championship, is you not only have provided them with a platform, but you also transform, or you also make them compete better, which actually I believe is a special feature and one of a kind that we've seen in most of the championship. So, ladies and gentlemen, so that brings us to the end of the talk show for today. And before we wind up, I would like to give you a special announcement with regards to the Junior World Public Speaking Championship, powered by LEAMOJO TV in collaboration with Modern Learning Studio. So, if you would like to visit our website, the championship website, you can visit our championship website, which is www.juniorspeakingchampionship.com. And if you would like to reach out to Modern Learning Studio, who will be able to direct you with in regards to this, you could visit www.modellearningstudio.com. You can see it right at the bottom, and you can visit us and reach out to one of our coordinators who will be of your assistance. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of today's talk show. So, I would like to invite all of you to be able to have your step forward as a parent who is aspiring to become a super parent to your children, transforming them to become a good public speaker and seal their future at a very tender age. So, as the theme of the Junior Public Speaking Championship is, we invite you to nurture the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to bid adieu to today's program by thanking our speakers for joining, Mr. Yasmin Mubarak and Mr. Ijaz Karim, all the way from Australia. So thank you, the both of you, for joining today's session, and I look forward to seeing you in another session in the days to come. So thank you very much, and I wish all my lovely viewers a very good evening and goodbye. Thank you.